In this video, I just wanted to briefly go over what is a variable and why are they used. Now, we're not going to get into anything like printing variables or operators or anything today. We're just going to go over the very basics of variables and what they do. So, first of all, what actually is a variable? Well, basically, a variable is some data that can change. And it's like labeled data. So basically, we give that data a name, and then we can change the value of it. So let's imagine it like this. I have a variable called, in fact, let me just create a new file quickly. I have a variable, I have a variable called my number. And what I want to do is set my number to 3. And then later on I decide, well, now I want my number to be, now I want to set my number to 8. So basically, we'll do stuff here, and we will do stuff here. And basically, we can change the value of my number. But the important bit is the type of my number. The data type can't change. Now, we'll get onto data types in a later video, but for now all you need to know is that an integer is a data type. So if we have a variable that's an integer, a whole number, we can't then change that to a string of text. We have to create a new variable with a new name. We can't use the same name, you can't change the data type of a variable. So how do we actually create variables? Well, you need to, first of all, just like we did up here with the main function, we need to specify a data type. So basically tell it what values you want the variable to hold. So in my case, I want it to hold full numbers because because we don't need decimals in this. So we type integer, which is for we type int, which is for integer, and so as I mentioned earlier, it stores whole numbers. So after we've typed the data type, and that could be anything from char to long to float to anything like that, but we'll get onto that later. For now, I'm going to create an int variable with the name dogs, because I want to know how many dogs I have. And I have this is what's called declaring a variable. We've told C what the type of the variable is, and we've told it the name. So now we've basically reserved this name dogs for this variable. So dogs now has to be an integer. Nowhere in the code can we ever now change that. Dogs is always going to be an integer. I mean, it'd be a little bit weird if dogs was like a floating point number with a decimal, because I'm not quite sure how you'd have half a dog, but that's why I've made it an integer type. And it's useful to know which data types you should use, but I'm getting distracted. We need to talk about actually how you assign variables. So we are declaring a variable here and just saying that it exists. So now C knows that the variable dogs exists. But it's still not going to really be very happy if we decide to say, oh, what does dogs equal? It's going to be like, blah, 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 because we haven't told it what dogs equals, how many. So I have one dog in my house. So I am going to type in dogs equals 1. Now, this is called the assignment operator. Now, basically what that means is it will take the value on the left, it will think, what's this? Oh, it's 1, okay. And it will store that value here, in this case 1, in this variable. So it basically, what it does is it sets dogs to 1, because it basically sets it sets the thing on the left to whatever's on the right. And we could do this to whatever we liked. And in fact, that's probably over the limit. But so in this case, this will work perfectly fine. We could have 54,679,678 dogs. Not sure if there'd really be room for them in my house. I mean, it's not exactly a huge house. I'm not sure if there's room for them in any house, but that's anyway. So this is how you declare a variable up here. And using our previous commenting skills, we are going to declare dogs variable as integer. Now, I think this is a bit of excessive commenting. You can kind of tell, if you know anything about coding, that int dogs declares dogs as an integer, but we're just practicing our commenting skills. So set dogs to, I'm not even going to bother trying to type that out. So that's how you assign variables. Assigning just means giving them a value or setting them to something, and that is how you declare them. Both are very useful, but you can't really do either without the other, so